Hey everyone, this is Prince Watercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This time around, it is Barbie Supermodel for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. I'll also be playing the Super Nintendo version as well. And as soon as you start the game, you can select between 1 or 2 players. And you can also select between Supermodel, Junior Model, and Free Play. Supermodel is harder than Junior Model, and Free Play lets you play the mini games without doing the side-scrolling sections. There are 4 of them in all. They all work the same way. And there are pickups. The camera takes you to the makeup bonus room. Shopping bag takes you to the dressing room bonus room. The stars give you points, with the ones with the B giving you more points than the ones that don't. And the hearts give you chances. You can have up to 4 chances, and once you lose all 4 chances, you'll have to continue. First stage has you driving across the strip road in a pink convertible. Hold A to speed up and hold B to slow down. And by picking up this bag, you go to the dressing room minigame, where you look at a cover of a fashion magazine and you try to match up what Barbie is wearing right down to the color. Use A, B, and C to cycle through the colors for all 3 parts of the wardrobe. If you accidentally skip over a color, you'll have to keep pressing that button before you return to that color again. You have as much time as you want to look at the magazine cover, unlike the Super Nintendo version, which means you'll probably do better here with the mini games than with the Super Nintendo version. It should be mentioned that both the Super Nintendo and Genesis versions have different soundtracks. I actually like the music for this game, this version of the game rather, than I do for the Super Nintendo version. It fits the sound chip perfectly. And here we are with some choreography practice. We'll be doing some fashion model runway stuff at the end of every stage, and that lets us practice for it. You'll have to remember which button to press when at the end of every stage, so that way you can get more points. Also, it's harder to get power-ups in the Genesis version than the Super Nintendo version. And by picking up the camera, we head to the makeup bonus room, where we have to match up the nail polish, lip gloss or lipstick, eyeshadow, earrings, and hair that Barbie has in the cover in order to get as many points as we can. Because the game is meant for little kids, especially young girls under the age of 7, it doesn't matter how poorly you do with the mini games. You'll always be able to continue through the game no matter what. There is a score at the top center of the screen, but the points are meaningless. They don't really mean anything. And you don't have to collect all the stars or all the pickups. As long as you get through the game, okay, you should be good. And here's that runway mini game at the end of every level that I was talking about. If you remember what buttons to press when during the choreography practice between 2 sections of each level, you'll know what to do at the end. And here's level 2, where we're going through the beach on rollerblades, dressed in purple and yellow, and we have to avoid seagulls, other people, beach balls. Basically, if it's moving and it's not us, it should be avoided. And we picked up the bag again, and we get to do another dressing room minigame. I'm doing the Sega Genesis version, but I'm also doing the Super Nintendo version as well. And both versions will have one version with commentary and one version without. Because why not? It should be mentioned that with the minigames, there are colors that are pretty similar to each other, which can make it a little harder to match exact colors down at times. But once again, don't feel bad if you can't do these exactly and get the maximum amount of points on these mini-games. As long as you don't lose all your chances, you can make it through the entire game very, very easily. Whenever you make it to a bonus stage, and complete it however well you can, you'll be taken back to the beginning of the section where you'll have to collect the stars all over again, and if you got hit earlier, you can refill your chances. You can get up to one free chance per section, provided you can pick up the heart. And here's some more choreography practice. I love how the Genesis / Mega Drive controller here is pink. I wish they did that with the Super Nintendo version. And now we're going to the left. The Genesis version has the same heads-up display. You still have the chances, score, and bonus in the top left, top center, and top right respectively. But you also have a sign with the name Barbie on it with lights all over it. And as you go through the game, more lights will turn on. Turn them all on, you'll have to go through all the bonus sections. Bonus games. I don't know why I said sections there. When you light it up, you're pretty much done with the game. Super Nintendo version does not have that, strangely. I don't know why. But for once, we matched up everything on the camera minigame, the makeup bonus stage. And I'm back to full chances now. So all we have to do is just avoid everything that isn't us and get all the way to the left. Believe it or not, going to the left is just you going in reverse. Believe it or not, the level looks the same on both sections. And despite a chance being there, I couldn't pick it up. The game lets you carry no more than 4, and if I tried to pick it up, I wouldn't have been able to get it. Anyway, it would have been so out of the way that I couldn't do it. And I did miss some commands on the fashion model runway, but that's alright. The game is meant for young girls, meant for little kids, fun for the whole family, non-violent. Therefore, you're pretty much allowed to screw up as much as you want as long as you don't lose all your chances. In Stage 3, we are now at the ski resort. We're dressed for the winter, and we're walking. You want to make sure not to touch the snow that borders the ground there because that can damage you. You also want to avoid other people, the ice that is on the ground, as well as snowballs that are being thrown at you. Snowballs are probably the hardest thing to avoid because unlike the frisbees from the second level, which have a shadow to them, the snowballs do have a shadow, but they still seem a little more dodgy to me than the frisbees. Just my opinion. So the snowballs are probably the hardest thing to dodge, to get away from, with the second hardest thing being the kids that are riding on the sleds. Because those kids can come at you pretty fast if you're going pretty fast. So remember to speed up and slow down when you need to. Very imperative on the third level. And here's another practice room. You can actually get these commands wrong, but as long as you can remember what buttons to press and when to go down, left, and up, again, you'll be alright. And after some adept snowball dodging right there, not often I get 2 being thrown at the same time, somehow managed to get through this whole area, get all 3 stars, and then get hit by a snowball before I can reach the camera. Well, at least I can regain that chance after I complete this bonus room. As I said earlier, both games have different soundtracks. Not sure if I did say that earlier, but both the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis version have different soundtracks. I prefer the Sega Genesis soundtrack over the Super Nintendo because it fits the sound chip perfectly. and it doesn't sound very bad at all. It doesn't sound like music you'd hear from like a second-rate licensed game from the 16-bit era, from the 4th generation of gaming. So the Genesis has that going for it. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same game. Also, and I also failed to mention this earlier, free play, the mode that only lets you play the mini-games, as well as the ability to switch between 1 and 2 players, are only present in the Sega Genesis version. In the Super Nintendo version, you can only switch between Super Model and Junior Model difficulty, and you're only relegated to 1-player mode. Not very fun. I'm guessing that the developers of this game, who also did the Super Nintendo version, were more partial to the Genesis, I believe. And now we're on the final stage, which has us on a bike riding across the park here. And it should be mentioned that the sprite for the bike is huge. If something hits the back wheel, you will still get hit. And sometimes it is hard to line yourself up with objects, so you have to be pretty careful. Like, I thought I would grab that star, but unfortunately, I missed it. The hitbox for the bike is a lot more iffy. It's a little harder to understand than the hitboxes for your character in the first 3 stages of the game. But the only stars that count when picked up are the ones that I pick up after I do the bonus game, if and when I do the bonus games. And as you can see here, the Barbie sign is fully lit up, so I've done quite enough to fill that sign up. I'm guessing it may be score related or something. I'm not quite sure how to fill it up, but as long as you do your best, you should be able to. And even if you don't, that's okay. And we get to see one more practice room. We get to see that pink controller one last time. And then it's off to do the stage from right to left, and then we do the fashion model runway thing one more time, and that'll be the end of the game. And I got hit there. I did not expect to get hit. Matter of fact, I was weirded out because for some reason the game stopped and the music was still playing and I didn't know what was going on. So therefore I got hit just without even realizing it, because it just touched the front of the bike there. So it kind of jerked me awake a little bit because I thought I was going to be able to dodge that frisbee. And here it is, the last makeup room bonus area. We should be able to do this to some extent, I think. At least to the best of our ability. And there we go with the 320 maximum points we can get out of that. And now we just have to get through this one last time. And here I am touching the star with the back of the bike. So the game's pretty much going to end at any moment now, so I might as well go ahead and mention my opinion of this game. Graphics are pretty good. You can kind of see what everything is. They could be better, but they do what they're supposed to. Sound is pretty good too. Sounds are okay, but I do like the music in this game. It's kind of low-key, it matches the mood of the game perfectly. Also, works well with the sound chip for the Genesis / Mega Drive. Play control is alright. Pretty simple. There's no delay between you pressing the button and you doing the action. And would I want to play it again? Well, I could, to see that ending where Barbie poses there. And we get to see one extra name on the credits that for the Genesis version that wasn't on the Super Nintendo version. That would be Matt Harmon's. Not sure why they needed one extra guy, except maybe to port it from Super Nintendo to Genesis. Not quite sure, but maybe somebody will be able to explain that to me. And unless you're probably younger than 7 years old, you probably wouldn't be playing this again, and you probably get bored with it, or play the game and beat it in less than 20 minutes. So that'll wrap it up for Barbie Supermodel. Until then, this is Prince Watercress. Take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and see you guys later!